I'm from originally Arkansas, the States, Jonesboro to be precise, and this is my first trip here to the UK. And I've been in Nashville for over 10 years now, and that is where I call home. Very rural with farmland, and definitely had, I guess, interest in the city, and I think that's where that whole cultural thing got me more into, you know, the urban and more the contemporary, you know, types of civilization. Well, country music is ever changing, and I feel like when I was growing up, I was listening to so many different influences with my family, and they had a love for all genres, and I think that's very evident now with where I am musically, because country, as you know, is made up of so many different genres, and it's ever changing, and it's so contemporary and pop, and I think that is definitely a direction they love here in the UK. I think I'm more the rock pop. I mean, I'm a pop act, so yes, my love is in that direction, in that vein. I'm very evident in my work. I feel like it's ever changing too in that direction, in that vein with the studio, because there's technology out there. We're constantly changing and evolving. Well, I think my music speaks for itself. The production goes hand in hand with the lyrics. And I think a song without production has its own, you know, identity. But when you do plan to have good production, or any type of production, good or bad, everybody has their taste. And I think that's why we have such a variety of different influences out there. Yeah. But yeah, that's where I stand with my work. Yeah. There's always emotion. That's where a song comes from. When you're out, you're always thinking, where could I apply this into a song, so to speak, or just your routine. I think what you do, and I'm a creature of habit, it's very evident in my work because I'm living in that moment. I'm really doing what I say. Well, I love pop, and I love international. You know, it's so funny, I saw Florence and the Machine have a marquee there. They're playing sometime in the near future here, not too far from where we've been touring, and that made me think of Lana Del Rey because she comes from that same, you know, pop influence. I think they kind of have their own little thing. They all are very comparable to one another in their direction. So yeah, I think Lana Del Rey would be a good collaboration, but I'm very open-minded. I think Gary Allan is a great example of the American platform as far as country. But I don't like to stay in one area or genre. I like to move on and do other things. Well, I love everything. Rap, pop. It's such a interesting thing that we call music, what it is, with just everything out there. So I'm always open-minded. People here are listening to things that are a lot different than what we're doing in the States, so it's very intriguing to me. Well, I mentioned we were on a good topic earlier with Gary Allan and Lana Del Rey, the two, and those are such wide influences. There's such a big gap there because, you know, Gary is more into the country, and of course he has a love of many things. I think we have a lot of similar taste in just leisure time, cigars, wine, whatever. But Lana Del Rey is an interesting, you know, artist just in herself. I mean, with her influences, and I love everything. So I'm kind of in the middle of, I mean, I think those are two good extremes, and I'm kind of in the middle. So yeah. I think those were definitely two good influences. And I've visited with Gary's family, his daughters, his two daughters, Maggie and Dallas, and just they've been instrumental in some of my early years getting into country after I had, you know, my whereabouts with some of my other management, and more or less in the wardrobe area, Dallas and Maggie, because I had a clothing line and a clothing store in Nashville, so we've known each other for a while now, so I can definitely see, you know, a taste there with Gary Allan and what they're doing. And then I've just been a fan of Lana Del Rey and her work. I love it. Her production is so theatrical, and I feel like with what I'm doing with my current projects has that same feel. With my current single, California Dreamin', I have a video that's going in place to help support, because I feel like you have to have a visual with the work nowadays, of course. That's just a given. And it's very theatrical, the whole story of California Dreamin', the current single. You know, they're all comparable, they're all similar. I felt like Under the Bridge had a very similar vibe, like the one I've had, or several I've had in the US. I mean, thousands, I mean, shoot. I think they were very engaged and initiated with our culture in the US. Well, like I mentioned earlier, that happened years ago. I mean, really, I just had energy to want to play and get on stage and go ahead and get the show done. But that was years ago when I was first getting my chops in music. And I had a very, very interesting childhood with my horse background, being in front of people. So really, it was a relief to some degree. I never really had any kind of nervous tension because I knew it was all on myself. And back when I was on the equestrian circuit, it was me and a horse. So horses can be unpredictable. You're you. You know what you're going to do if you have your mind set. Well, I was mentioning earlier in those questions you had about, excuse me, I'm still getting over a little bit of allergies from the U.S. and getting acclimated here with the seasons, which has been phenomenal. The weather here has been great. The discussion we had prior to this question was California Dreamin', and that's our current single we have out on radio. And we have a video coming out, and it's going to some great platforms in the U.S. Don't want to give it away. It's kind of at the point where it's going to be released. We're going to have a debut type. But in the U.K., we are looking at doing a big release with California Dreamin', my current single. And we've already had another song out on the charts and out on radio and here in the UK titled We Don't Sleep. So this is going to be a follow-up from that song off my debut album, California Dreamin'. Well, I was talking to my publicist, and we have so many things in store. As everybody knows, when you make a debut anywhere, like in a new country, you're getting your bearings, you're understanding where you're at, you know, from a touring standpoint. And that is something I definitely want to capitalize on, is more shows and figuring out just the vicinity of area, you know, the area. There's so many areas here, as you know, you can get lost in, and you got to be very, very specific on where you're touring, you know, because you don't want to back up and hit a place twice or hit an area twice when you know you could be somewhere else making that much more gain. So more touring would be what I'm expecting or planning, putting in Provision Store. I think that would be phenomenal. Either way, I'm coming back. I've already started making preparations for that particular thing. The UK has been very accommodating. They've had just an open hand everywhere we've been. The opportunities are endless. I want to be a part of everything UK. I feel like this is a great, great platform, and we just need to work on capitalizing on this tour. Mm-hmm. You know, I'm very selective, and it depends on who's here at the time. I mean, when we're contracting shows and contracts and agreements, that you never really know until it's all out on the table on who's here, who's doing what. Being in a situation I'm in with my record label and the touring side, because there's so many areas that are separate. Radio's separate, touring separate. As far as touring with an act, I really don't know. I mean, I do know who I follow. I think Lana Del Rey would be a good one. I mean, I'd rather be with a female act. I think that was something we had discussed in general. You know, all the pop acts, I feel like we're just on the edge. And country is at a place where it's known for so many influences and can be so many different things. It's so diverse right now. We're pop, we're rock, we're rap, we're hybrids. I mean, people have labeled me as a hybrid to some degree, but some people don't even know what to call me. I mean, I keep it very fresh and unpredictable. And I feel like each song has its own identity, and that's what we were discussing earlier with songwriting and the lyrics. If they were by themselves, they would have a whole different perception from within the album with the production. Because production can change a song in so many directions, and that's where I feel like I'm more on the pop leanings versus the traditional, because I like to explore the space. And that whole perception in hand would probably put me more with a Lana Del Rey or maybe a Florence and the Machine or some of those acts that are more known here in the pop dealings. I think they are very accommodating and are very hospitable, and everybody's been so nice here, and the food's been great. I don't know what they say. I think they say the food's not great. It is. It's phenomenal. Everything's been great.
Have you had the chance to try some Yorkshire pudding yet, or?
I haven't had too many opportunities, but run your question again. I'm sorry.
Yorkshire pudding with roast beef and gravy and potatoes.
Well, I'm pescatarian, so I only eat fish. Yeah. And I'm more vegan, vegetarian.
Well, in that case, it's fish and chips.
Fish. I've had a lot of sea bass.
Yeah.
And that's been a dish I've noticed at a lot of restaurants here. But yeah, any fish, sushi. I went to Harrods, the mall. Okay. That was there's a lot of nice little restaurants there. Of course, they're more chain, but it was a very good experience.
Mm. Well, with especially in London, there's so many restaurants as well to choose from. Foods from all over the country basically as well. So I mean, so anyone can actually come to London and have a
variety of so many different nationalities.
That's it, yeah.
There's so many varieties here, and I think London is a good centerpiece for all nationalities to have. You can go and have Italian, anything you want. I mean, it's on the menu.